Hi everyone, and welcome to the Comic Book Corner, and this is your host Spider Slayer, getting ready to do another comic book review for you. This is probably the first one of my year. There hasn't been too many comics that's come out in the past couple of weeks, honestly, because of the holidays and things like that. But this is a request that that someone wanted for me to review here for you, and this was issue number 4. Red Hood Outlaws. So issue 4 of the Red Hood Outlaws. This series kind of hard for me to pick up because I love the artwork of this series, and I think this series has huge potential. I don't know too much about the characters because I did not follow DC all that much before the New 52 came out. So a lot of these characters are new for me. I don't know their history or anything like that. I'm just going based off of what I've read so far. But again, I know there was a lot of controversy about Starfire's outfit. Yes, I agree. It's very risque, and obviously to get people to buy the book because of the way she looks. But if you look past it, the artwork is just beautifully done in this book. It is fantastic. There's a lot of detail, a lot of things to look at that makes your eyes pop. But I mean, here you can see in this cover, this is a nice cover, very bright art, all the magic and all the superpower or whatever, ray beams coming out of Starfire's hands and stuff like that. And this dragon creature here is very, very detailed, and all the features that go into Starfire and Roy Harper and Red Hood and all the characters involved. Very, very good. Again, you can see here on just a regular opening page, you can see here that there's bright colors, very detailed inks, nice shading, everything involved in the comic that you need, that you appreciate art. And for me, the art is a major part of why I buy a comic book. The story, obviously has to be good too, but I will give a book a longer chance if it has good artwork. Sometimes for me, I won't even pick up the book if I don't like looking at the art, because this is one of the reasons why we read comic books. There's a lot of stuff to look at. So with that being said here, I will go into a little walkthrough with this book and give you a brief description of what this particular story is about here. And Jason Todd here is looking for this I don't know, this certain person called the Untitled. He's been in search for it. That's what's been this story arc so far. But you can see that Roy Harper and Jason Todd here are together, and they're at a bar. And this big guy here, he's basically trying to kick him out. And what happens here is they get into a little scruffle, and you can see that there was no match to them. The dude's crying here and stuff like that. But in the whole scheme of things here, the two, they get arrested by this sheriff here. And little do we know that that sheriff has the answers to what I think Jason Todd's been looking for all along. Next issue here, for some reason, these people don't want Starfire on the ground or whatnot, so she's basically paying attention from above, and she's flying from above. And the next thing we see is that she gets slashed. Sorry, I almost dropped the book. She gets slashed in the air right here, and she comes crashing down into this snow, to the frozen tundra. And next we see is this dragon-like, bat-like, I don't know what creature, but we can see here that a battle is getting ready to be had here. But again, you can see artwork, fantastically done. Great book to look at. Very good book to look at. But this alien has it for Starfire. Basically, in this story, he was like a scientist and experimented everything else, but his family got killed due to her kind's technology, and it was a UFO that killed his parents, and this was a human being, and he experimented with alien DNA and stuff like that, and he's become this crazy creature here, all for revenge on Starfire, just just to take her out because her kind killed parents, or his parents, and I think it was his parents. It was either his parents or girlfriend. But meanwhile here, they're searching. Roy Harper and Jason Todd are searching for this Untitled, which is this special being here. And little do we know is that he holds her hostage because he wants to not be held accountable for what he did. So he basically puts the handcuffs on the sheriff. But little that we know that he's looking for the files of this certain being. And what happens here is that the sheriff, or the deputy, whatever you want to call it, becomes the person that he's been looking for all along, which is the Untitled. And she has been in hiding in all this time, but he has forced her out. And we can see here that all of a sudden she gets arrows to the head, and we think she's dead, but really she says, "You're steel-tipped arrows, but a petty annoyance. Only copper can harm me." And Roy Harper's like, "Yeah, Jason mentioned that to me, or way to Dolesville." So all of a sudden, goes through in her head, like explodes, and she explodes all over the place. And we think that she's done, but she's really not. So next we continue to see the battle take place in the water here between Starfire and the dragon bat-like creature. Again, we can see the origin or what happened to this guy. And again, it was like 5 years ago. And what happened was the UFO came, and what happened is it ran into the car, and I think it was his girlfriend. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I read this story a little while ago. But whatever the case may be, he was studying all these ways of how to get back at their kind, finding all kinds of information on like the alien technology and things like that. And all of a sudden he injected himself with the DNA, and he became what he became today. So little did we know that really Starfire's kicking this dragon creature's like ass. And next thing we see is that he's kind of luring her into a special kind of place, and we'll get back to that in a second. But the next thing we know is that all of a sudden is that she's healing, and the sheriff didn't die here. And the next thing we know is that Jason Todd and Roy Harper, they're chicking out, and their great plan here is to leave. Next, we go back to Starfire. It jumps back to Starfire here, and all of a sudden she goes back, and she knew that he was beaten, and his grand scheme was to be lured into this alien technology, which is her own, which is called the Tamaranian Transubstantiator, whatever it's called. But whatever it is, it's using it against her, and it looks like it strains her powers, because as soon as she gets hit by it, she falls to the ground, and she's just like zapped out, and that is it. Next thing we see is that we're getting ready for battle. I guess we're getting ready for the next issue. Jason Todd becomes Red Hood, and Roy Harper gets his arrows out, and they're just getting ready to do battle. But the next thing we see is that the creature comes and is checking on Starfire. And we don't see what happens after that. And then finally on the last page we come to is the Untitled, or whatever being this is, with this weird looking head. And it looks pretty cool, but it looks like there's a battle about to go down big time against him and her. And it looks like he's got the special weapons needed to take her down. So what happens next issue? I don't know. Looks like a pretty good battle. Like I said, I'd probably give this issue 3 out of 5. Again, I love the art in this book. The story for the first story arc for me is a little hard to grab because I don't know the history too much about all these characters, and I wish they would go into a little bit more detail of how they became and things like that. I'm going to continue reading it. Once again, I'll go on and on about the art and the story. You know, it jumps around here to there, here to there, here to there. But it wasn't bad, and it's a solid read, and it's worth me keeping on to. So for all you people out there that didn't want to buy it because of the way Starfire looks, I would look past that now. It's clearly not what they're trying to do. It may have been in the first issue, but if you want something good to look at, and you know, and to see where the story goes from here, you might want to pick up a couple issues and see what it's about. So that's my review, and this is Spider Slayer saying signing off. And I hope you guys subscribe to Comic Book Corner, and again, check out Comic Community Central as well. All right, that's a new channel that was that we created, or actually Dark Avenger created, and some of us reviewers are on there doing our own stuff, and we're trying to get a whole bunch of comic people, like-minded folks, together to talk about comic books. So check that out again, Comic Community Central. So until the next review, guys, thank you for watching as always, and I will see you soon. This is Spider Slayer saying see ya.